Today we're going to be making our mask designs. So our learning intention for today is we're going to be creating exciting designs based on reference imagery. Our success criteria: I can choose images relevant to my theme, I can import images from the internet, I can create a reference image, I can add a drawing guide to create a symmetrical design, I can complete 4 different exciting mask designs and include at least 3 different brush types within each design. So task 1 is going to be to create a reference image. So how we're going to do this is by opening Safari side by side with Procreate, and based on the theme that you've chosen, we're going to research images to do with that. So first of all, I'm going to look at images related to my mask. So I'm going for the Snow Queen. Now remember, you can drag and drop your images from Safari straight into Procreate. So if you don't deselect the image, it will stop you from importing further images onto your screen. For this reference page, you'll need 3 contextual images and 3 market research references. I've just done 2 just to be a little bit more speedy, so I've got my snowflake, the icicle, and then 2 examples of existing masks. I've then saved this, so I'm going to go to Save Image, which is that rectangle with the down arrow. So this is going to become our reference image. The next thing we need to do is import our image of the 4 head guides into Procreate. So you'll find this on Satchel 1 or Teams, wherever your teacher has uploaded this. We're going to have a look at adding a symmetry guide to our masks. So we're going to select Canvas at the top and then turn on Drawing Guide. We're then going to edit the drawing guide and choose the Symmetry tool. Now there's a little blue dot on the screen. You can move this around and change where you want the symmetrical features to be. So I'm going for right in the middle of the face. I'm zooming in a little bit here just to make sure I'm being accurate. We're now going to add in our reference image. So back up to the spanner tool, and then if you click on a reference and toggle that on, a box will then pop up on your screen. If you select image, you can then go into your camera roll and find that saved reference image, and it'll appear as a screen within a screen. Now we're going to start designing our masks. So I'm going to take inspiration from the icicle first of all. So I'm going to choose this blue colour. So remember, that is the circle in the top right hand corner. So I'm going to try and mimic these shapes, so kind of a triangular shape. So because I've got the symmetry guide on, you'll notice that whatever I do on the left side, it's also appearing on the right side. You can move your reference image to separate areas too. So I've zoomed in on the snowflake so I can get this kind of jagged pattern to make it look like a headband. As mentioned in the success criteria, try and use at least 3 different brushes within each design, because then you're going to be able to make it look as textural and as exciting as possible. Now that I'm happy with this design, I'm now going to change where my symmetrical line is. So back to the spanner, canvas, and then drawing guide. I'm then going to use that blue dot and transfer onto the second design. So now the line of symmetry is in the middle of this girl's face rather than the original one. As you're creating your 4 designs, try and take inspiration from a different aspect of your reference image. So for this second one, I'm going to look really closely at the patterns and the types of lines I can see within this existing mask. So kind of these twig-like shapes and colours. I'm going to try and take inspiration from that as I'm drawing this mask. You'll find that some of the brushes only work on a darker background, so they look more kind of luminous. So if you want to see these brushes, you can change the background colour of your canvas. So if you click on the 2 squares on top of each other for your layers and then select background colour, you'll get all of these different options for your background colour. So to enable me to see this kind of light brush, so it looks luminous, I've made my background kind of a black colour, and that's enabled me to see the colours a little bit better. One thing to take note of is when you're creating your mask designs, make sure they're on a different layer than the head template. So you can see when I go into my layers, I've forgotten to do that initially, but I'm going to do that in the next one. Now for my third design, I'm going to have a look at radial symmetry. So back to the spanner in the top left hand corner, drawing guides, tap on symmetry, and then down. down to options and then select radial. So we can see this kind of star-shaped guide across the face now. You can turn your reference on and off just by tapping on that toggle there. So you can see I turned it off so I was able to see the guide a little bit better, and now I've got it back on so that I'm able to use my reference as I go along. Now wherever I draw in one section, it will also appear in every other section of the star. So I'm going to try and make this as intricate as possible. I'm adding a range of colours, shapes and lines within this, so that's going to make it look as exciting as possible. So for this one, you will see why it's important to do this on a separate layer. Once you've got your design complete how you like it, you'll see how this section is kind of over her face. So we're going to remove this by going to that kind of S shape. So I'm making sure I'm on a different layer, and I'm going to cut out the section that I don't want to be there. So kind of around the nose, over the lips. So I really want it just to be an eye mask rather than a full face mask. Once I'm happy with the selection that I've made, I'm then going to do a 3-finger swipe down and select cut, and that is going to remove that section from my page. So thinking about the functionality of this mask, we're going to need some eye holes as well. So what I'm going to do is remove these lines that are over her eyes. Once I've done that, I'm going to start to outline an eye shape. I want to give this mask more colour, so when I'm adding colours in, I will need to drag and drop them and make sure each line is a full circuit so that the whole of my page doesn't get filled up. So I'm going to start to draw the outline of this eye shape, so starting by zooming in so I can see exactly what I'm doing. So one way I can do this is just by freehanding the line that I'm going to make. So you can see here that I'm just roughly drawing around the eye shape. That's option one, so just draw it as you see it, you can do it freehand. Now because this is so symmetrical and I've been concentrating on the symmetry and how perfect it is, I'm going to undo that and look at a second option. So if I go back onto drawing guide, toggle it on and then change my line of symmetry, so we've got the vertical line of symmetry, there we go, and then put that right in the centre of her face. When I draw these eye holes, that's going to allow that to be as perfect and symmetrical as possible. If you want to see your designs without any of these guides interrupting your drawings, if you go to the spanner and then just turn your drawing guide off, and then that will take that away and you'll be able to see your designs as they are without anything interfering. This one is mainly inspired by the snowflake in my reference image. Whilst I'm filling it in, I've turned off my reference image, so I went to the spanner and then to reference image and turned it off. So this is allowing me to see the most of my screen to give my work the most detail. Now when you're filling in your colours, remember your lines need to make full circuits in order for the colour to stay within that shape. This third design is probably the one that I went into most depth with, so this is the level of detail each one of your designs needs to be at least. Try and take inspiration from each individual one of your images. So you should have 3 contextual images. So say if you're doing this theme, a snowflake, an icicle, or like an icy leaf, and then 3 examples of market research. So 3 existing Snow Queen masks. What element from each of them could you bring into your own design? So the brushes are really going to help you with this. They do a lot of the work for you and give you a really professional finish. For this week, you should have chosen your theme for your mask. You should have created a reference image with 3 market research images, so that's examples of masks, and 3 contextual images, so images that relate to your theme. Once you've created your reference image, you'll then need to import these heads, which are wherever your teacher has put them, and then complete 4 really exciting in-depth mask designs. So our learning intention for the day was to create exciting designs based on reference imagery. You'll know you've been successful if you've chosen images relevant to your theme, imported images from the internet, created a reference image, added drawing guides to create a symmetrical design, completed 4 different exciting mask designs, and included at least 3 different brush types within each design.